Have you ever felt like your personal website is just not aligning with you anymore? Well, same, and that is why I decided to do a full brand refresh this year, and I've been taking you guys with me behind the process of the brand direction, the logos, and now putting it all together and using it in those real life forms. If you haven't seen those videos, I'll link them right up above here, but this is part of that series where I'm taking you with me through my own personal brand refresh, which designing for yourself is really difficult. Comment down below if you've also tried this. I don't know why it's so much more difficult to design for yourself than for clients, but for some reason it is. But I'm really happy with how things are looking. I really didn't want to change a whole lot about my branding, but I just wanted to keep that similar style and give it a fresher look. So that's why I wanted to take you guys with me and show you a little behind the scenes of how I'm taking everything I created and creating my new website while maintaining the same look for recognition, but I'm taking all that and building it on Framer, which I know might be a surprise to you guys. I've mentioned it here and there on my channel, but I have been designing my website on WordPress for years, but I recently made the decision that I want to redesign my personal website on Framer for lots of different reasons. One of those biggest reasons is that I am so busy and in over my head with clients and all of the other awesome things in my business, like my Patreon community and YouTube and content creation. And honestly, I don't have the time to constantly update my WordPress website. And because of that, there's sometimes broken pages and pages that are loading kind of weird because of lack of updates. And I just don't have the time to attend to my WordPress website as often as I should. I also just love how Framer is so intuitive to use. It feels just like Figma, and I love not having to learn new platforms all the time and just sticking with something that feels really easy to use and easy to update. So the most important things I have to update on my website pretty often is portfolio pieces. I want to take my YouTube videos and turn them into blog posts. So that's another thing I'll be updating. And then thirdly, I just want to make sure that the mobile side is optimized because I've noticed based on my analytics that most of my users are accessing my website through mobile. So without further ado, let's head on over to my computer. I'll share with you guys what I've started on Figma, and then we'll bring it into Framer and start to build it out. So one of the most important things that comes with a website design is not only the content and the copywriting, but also the brand photography. Although there's so many awesome websites with like really aesthetic looking stock photography, I wanted to give my website a refresh look with some really nice photography. So I wanted to share with you guys what my new photos look like. The overall vibe of the photos was to keep them really filmy, vintage, European looking, and I think we really nailed it. I'm excited to use these, and I think they're really gonna flow with not only my color palette, but also kind of the direction I'm taking the brand. I also think brand photography is important because you can use this on social media, on email marketing, and anywhere else you're going to be showing up with your branding for consistency. Okay, so this is what I created on Figma so far. If you want to see like how I created this on Figma and my process with it, then definitely check out my Patreon. I take a deep dive into everything that I'm sharing with you guys on YouTube. I just go way deeper with it and show like full tutorials. So if you want to see that, definitely check that out. It's always linked down below with a special coupon for my YouTube subscribers. But this is what I've created so far, and I'm really happy with it. I think I'm going to go with this one on the right here. It's more built out, and it's definitely the style I like. So I want to take all this and bring it into Framer. And I just want to share with you guys like how I'm going to either taking this from scratch, or you can use the plugin, the Figma to Framer plugin to transfer it easily. But I actually want to just do it by hand. I don't really want to use the plugin. I sometimes feel like it loads things in differently. Even though it's a super easy solution, I want to take you guys with me as I just do it from scratch and how I would approach it that way. Okay, so this one that I showed you guys a while back is actually a template on Framer, and I actually did get quite a bit of inspiration from this for my own personal website. And I'm thinking that we can duplicate a page and just kind of like redesign it and develop it based on my Figma design, but using some of these elements because they had it set up really nicely, like all their reviews. That's kind of a similar design to what I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the home tab here. We're going to say duplicate the home page. And one of the reasons I really like Framer is it makes it so easy to make a responsive website. Like if I want to make a change to the desktop, it will change it for mobile and tablet without me having to do too much. Okay, so heading back over to my Figma, I'm going to start to export some of these images. Now, these images are not what I'm fully going to be using. Like this one up here, I like it, but I don't know. There's something about, I either want to do like a GIF video of like images scrolling through so they can immediately see some of my work. But for now, let's just export all these images and we'll decide that later. So I'm going to go to export down here and we will say PNG, export 6 layers. And I just want to show you guys how fun it is to design on Framer as well, because it's almost like Show It, where you can like place things anywhere and you have a lot of creative freedom with it. So let's change this image. Okay, so I'm going to use the Figma to Framer app and plugin to bring over my design that I started. So to do that, what I'm going to do first is we're going to click into this design that we want to use, and I'm going to go down to the plugins here, and we're going to go to Figma to HTML with Framer, and it's copying all the layers on the basically the frame that I have selected. Once it's done copying, we can head back over to Framer and paste it and start a design. You could do it this way if you like using Figma, then I would recommend doing it this way. But if you like to use just directly into Framer, then definitely check out all of their pre-made templates and stuff, because you can use things from there. You don't have to use everything from the template, but it's kind of a nice starting point. I'm going to head back over to my Framer here. I'm going to change it to the dark screen just so I don't get confused between my Figma and my Framer. We're going to call this Megan Weeks Design Co. And I'm going to paste my design in here by just going Command V. And then it has a little tutorial that you can watch, but I'm just going to dismiss that. And then let me go back here and check the sizing of my frame. So it looks like the width is 1440 and the width here is 1200. So I'm going to click onto this and just change the width. And let's zoom out and scroll down. There we go. It actually imported everything perfectly, but this isn't fully functional, meaning a lot of these aren't components yet. They don't have like click actions, and that's the way Framer works, is you have to create like a component for it to be an element that you can use on multiple pages. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back to my Framer dashboard, because I have a template that I've already kind of started using for my website, but I didn't love everything on there. So let me click into this and we can actually copy and paste some components from it. So for example, on this draft homepage, I created this like draggable slider here. So I'm going to go to assets, and I'm actually going to, I want to see if I can copy everything over. I might not be able to do styles, but we can definitely try doing this. Let's go back here, go to assets, components, and Command V to paste. It looks like I pasted it, but I'm not seeing it in here. So let's go back to this, Command C, go to layers, Command V. Okay, so it's added my CMS, which is like the projects, which is actually pretty cool. I didn't know you can even do this, so that helps me a lot, because these are things that I'll be using throughout the whole site. And that's another way Framer works, is that it goes off of CMS for project services, meaning you can apply all of those CMS items to any section of your website. It just makes it so much easier. So one of the things I'm going to need to do in here is I'm going to have to drag this into the variant. So first let's just make this a little bit bigger, and we can actually do 1440 for the width, and we can actually do it this way by dragging it into the item there. And then let's just kind of align it, get it back in there, drag it back on top. Oops. Okay, cool. We didn't need that frame around it. I think that's what was screwing me up. So let me just click on this, and we want to just change the fill to either no fill at all, or we can change it to our library of colors, which I actually need to set up my library of colors because I haven't done that in here yet. We'll just do no fill for now. Let's go back to pages. And first, let me just double check that that is all good. I typically like to go library add so I can add it to my workspace library. And it looks like it, okay, let's just go back here. And that will be for this section. So what I'm gonna do is, I don't think we need that background color there. So I didn't design my Figma using auto layout, which is typically what they recommend doing if you're going to do this import process from Figma to Framer, but we're gonna try and just go for it. I don't really like the auto layout, it kind of confuses me. So we're just gonna have to go for it from here. And let's see if I remove the frame, what happens. Okay, yeah, I think that's what we needed to do. And now I'm just going to change the desktop background color to this, or I think it was this one. Command C, Command V. Okay, now let me go to this section here now. I'm going to copy all this, but we're going to just drag it out. I don't want to delete it yet. I'm just going to drag it away. And I'm going to go to my components in here, draggable slider. So let's just add that. There we go. So it looks like when I drag it away from here, it actually removes it from being inside of this desktop here, or inside of this frame. So if I scroll down to the bottom, I can see it down here. So I'm just going to drag it up to where we want it to be. So yeah, as you can see, when you don't have it in auto layout or within its own frames in Figma, it can be a little unorganized over here, but we can definitely clean it up as we go. All right, perfect. Dang it. I want it to be slightly open right here, just like that. Get that aligned with it. And then let's do a little preview. So yeah, as you can see, it kind of scrolls through, which is really cool. I just will have to figure out how to make those clickable. That definitely is the style I was going for. I'm just going to make the gap a little bigger. Okay, let's go back to the home page and change this to 1440. Okay, that's fine if it kind of is off the edges like that. But let's go back up here and let's create some components for the buttons, which you can do the same thing where I just basically use a template and I'm kind of just like taking those assets and using them for myself because it just saves you some time and it's so easy to do. So let's go to primary button here and let's just copy this whole thing. I go Command C on my keyboard, back over here, new component, button, and I just paste that in here. All right, so based on the design of this, it looks like this is the primary button and then this is what it looks like when it hovers. I'm just going to copy that because it looks like I didn't get the hover one correctly. And let's just go to layers. We'll just add this to the variant 2. And actually, let me click back in this. So we want to create a hover one, which is here. So let me click into variant. We're just going to have to kind of design it based on here. I don't want a border. I want the fill to be this color. We'll remove this border inside here. Just remove the stack. Make this a little bit bigger, and then this is easy because we can just click on the hover and let's go grab the right color for this. Command C, Command V. There we go. And we can even drag this over if we don't want it completely at the edge, but I think the way it was is fine for now. So let's go back to, actually, based on my design, I don't even have a filled in color. So what I should have been doing is removing the fill and creating a border. So let me go to my colors here, Command C, Command V. This is why I recommend adding in your colors before you even start, but I was too excited to get going on this, so we'll have to add those in a minute. Okay, for the hover though, I'm thinking for the hover we can add a fill. Yeah, I think that's cool. Or maybe even this color as the hover fill. There we go. Okay, so let's go to pages, home, and now we'll be able to use these buttons here. So if I go to layers, we can see that this is a variant or a component when it has this kind of style to it. So that definitely helps. And then we can even select all of these and we can create so I can even create my like frames and stacks inside of Framer. I would just have to select everything in that section, and I personally like to do frames instead of stacks because stacks has like a smart layout container, so it will like resize things for you. If I do frame, it'll maintain the design, but if I do stack, which I'll show you guys, if I go add stack, it will resize things. So I like to do frame instead, just keeps things maintained for me. And then we can kind of go in here and fix the design. So we can call this frame here, hero section, and we can start to organize things inside of Framer. And I'm going to drag this up to the top since these are items that should be the first thing we see in here. I'm doing that like import tool kind of rearranges things, but this will help us keep things pretty organized. Same with these here. So yeah, I recommend doing it inside of Figma before you transfer, but I'm never very good about doing that. So if you are like me, then this is how I would start to organize it once it's inside here. Okay, we can select these and even center it that way, or we can select these and do the distribution. So I love how it feels similar to Adobe and it has those like alignment tools for like consistency. I just love that so much. It makes designing so much more easy and consistent, and it's the best. So let's actually make sure that these are all in the same frame as well. And it looks like it's pulling in this button here. So I am going to delete this. We're going to say add frame. Let's elevate. That way we know which section this is. Perfect. And as you can see, when I zoom out, we are not able to see the mobile or the tablet yet. So to do that, we would just click this plus sign and say tablet, and then click this and say phone. So the only problem with not using a like template or anything is that, like, as you can see in here, when I use a template, it has everything like organized for me already on tablet and mobile. We're just gonna have to manually do that, which is honestly fine with me. I feel like we have a lot of help with doing that plugin anyway. But yeah, we would have to just go into the tablet and phone and make sure this all looks good to go as well. So you can see on the left hand side here, it's organizing it for us as tablet and phone. So let's just bring this over. And if I were doing this officially for like a client, I would have wanted to fix the tablet and mobile right away before going too far with the design, because the more you edit the design on the desktop, it's going to affect it for all of the different devices as well. So the quicker you can figure out the design on all of your devices, the better. Let's go to layers. Okay, so we're going to worry about those other devices a little bit later. I want to just focus on the desktop with you guys for the purpose of this video, but I also wanted you to see how the tablet and mobile works with Framer, because it reminds me a little bit of Show It, where you kind of have to make sure that everything is resized for tablet and mobile, but once it is, it's way easier. You don't have to do much to fix it. So I think it's really nice. And I mean, that's one benefit of like WordPress, is that it kind of does the mobile side for you. There's just like slight changes that need to happen, but it shouldn't be a huge deal for us to fix on Framer as well. So for this section here, I'm also going to want to add this to its own frame. So I'm just going to select all of this, right click, add frame, YS, and then let's drag this up a little bit. Perfect. And so I had the idea of even having this as like a slideshow. So if I wanted to do that in Framer, we can actually go to some of the elements that are already pre-built for us. We can go to slideshow here, and let's just zoom in. And this is how it will work. So it connects to whatever content we have on the page. So very similar to Figma. If you've ever used like inside of Figma here, if you've ever used interactions on Figma, a lot of times it connects to whatever is on the page. So what we would want to do is, let me just zoom out. So yeah, it looks like it's pulling in each of these, which what we'll do before we create the slideshow is we'll drag in some of our photos, some of our work, and then these will be the images in the slideshow. To keep our artboard clean, I would probably do this in components. But for the purpose of this right now, I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to select all of them. Don't want those in the same group. Okay, now let's click on slideshow. And for the content, we'll be able to select each of those items. Perfect. Let me just click on slideshow up here. And for the slideshow settings, I don't want the arrows on that, so I'm just going to remove that. I also don't really want the dots. I just want it to autoplay. So we'll have it doing that. We can have it autoplay a little bit faster. Perfect. So now I'm going to just bring this into this area. So let's Let's bring it in, and I can even connect this image to the slideshow as well. So let's actually do that. Perfect. So now let's play and see how this is looking. So there you go. You can see it's sliding through pretty fast, but we can change the interval time. I guess 1.5 is probably good. And we can also change we can even add an effect to this if we wanted. We can even add an effect to my logo up here if we want some more movement to the page. We can go to effects. We can go to loop. Let's go to play and see what this looks like. So that's spinning way too fast, but it's kind of like cool to see how Framer is so flexible with the design and making it like have some movement. So let's click on the effect of this again. Let's go to delay like that. Let's go play. There we go. Cool. This is looking awesome. And then you can see the button here is sort of working. It's having some difficulties with the hover, so we'll have to play around with that. But this is also getting cut off. Let's go to play. Perfect. Okay, so for this section here, this is like a little divider, and I wanted to shrink the size of it a little bit. And I was thinking, let's just go look at our Figma. So it's loading in as like a italic font. I don't know why, but we can always change that by going to assets, and in styles we can add our fonts here, which let's actually do that for a few of them. We're gonna call this H1, and then we'll find our font in here. And if we need to add a font, we'll just go to custom, upload, and we'll upload that. It's super easy to add custom fonts, which is another thing I just love about Framer. So we'll click on that, go back, change the color to the brown color. And this is when you would refer to your Figma design and take a look at your designs here. So our H1 is size 64 font. So let's just select that. The letters are actually kind of, I like a little less space in between the picnic club font. I don't know, I think it looks really cool that way. Let's go to add another font here, H2. This will be the brown color as well. You can click on picnic club now that I've added it. And the H2 font is size 48. Perfect. Text. Let's add our paragraph font for now. Paragraph font is Overpass regular size 14. Overpass is a Google font, so I had a feeling it would be in here already. Regular size 14. Yeah, there's so many settings in here to make sure your fonts are consistent across the whole website. Now let's add our subheading font. Overpass mono size 18. And we'll make this H5. We'll just call it subheading. Overpass mono size 18. We'll make that color the dark brown. All right, cool. So now that we have some of those set, I'll finish doing the other ones later. But now that we have some of those set, we can actually click in here and we can go to styles down here and we can select H2, which I want to change the line height to that. And then we can do the same for this, H2. Perfect. And then we can also change all these to the subheading font. And then let's actually go into the subheading font, Overpass mono, but I want to change it to all uppercase right here. Perfect. And I actually don't want it bold. Oops. We can keep that. We'll do regular. Perfect. And then we'll just want to apply all those settings to each of these fonts. So I'm showing you all this because even though we were able to import it using that plugin, there's still a few things that I'd recommend doing. So you're still making a custom website, especially because we did design the whole thing on Figma. So it looks like we have 2 text items here. I'll have to figure out where this is living. It might even be from the tablet. Let's type it in to achieve. There it is. So let's bring it in to the YS section. So now we can click on it. All right, perfect. So one of the things I want to show you guys in this video as well is how to add some like really fun scroll effects, because that's honestly kind of what Framer is known for. So we already added some animations to this section, but if I were to just want things to like load in as I'm scrolling down, like this section, for example, I would want to make it so each of these, or actually let's add them all to its own frame. Add frame, and then inside of the frame, let's call this services. Inside the frame, we can either make the whole entire thing load in. What I'd want to do is remove that rectangle, change the service background this way, because I don't want that to have the hover effect, but I would like all the items inside of it to have that scroll effect. So if I click on this and I go to effects, scroll animation, layer in view, we can have it fade in, and it's still going to make the background fade in. I don't want that. So let's actually just focus in on the text inside of here. Okay. And then we'll have all of this fade in. So let's go to effects, scroll animation. We can either do on appear, on scroll. Let's do on scroll, or let's do layer in view. Fade in. We can have it start a little opaque. Let's do like that. I don't want to change the scale. Let's just see how that looks. Let's go to play. Okay. We need to fix that animation here. So let's just click on the frame animation. Let's remove this animation. Go to the frame animation and layer in view. We'll do fade in. Now let's try. There we go. I just want it to be a little slower so people can actually see that happen. So let's go to effect, transition. We'll do 2. Let's see how that feels. Yeah, there we go. Yay, this is looking so cool. I really like how this is like draggable as well. Now for the testimonial section, I actually have an account with Segment UI, which is really awesome. It's like pre-made components and templates that you can use on Framer. So that's actually how I got this scrolling effect here. I was able to copy that over. So I think I'm going to look for a testimonial section, or we can even add a testimonial section by going to this right here. If I added it, but it's only one testimonial. I want it to be like a click-through one. So let's go to Segment UI for Framer. Let's just type in testimonials up here. Let's click on this one, see what that looks like. Go to preview. So they have all these options that we can choose from. I'm not loving those. I want it to be like a click through. So let's go to testimonial. Let's go to animated testimonial, see what that looks like. This is kind of what I was thinking. Okay, that's the same one. We go to component library, testimonial. So it's really cool because Segment UI comes with all of this that we can use. So let's go to... Alright guys, here is how the website is looking. I am so excited about it. I feel like it's really coming together, especially with some movement to the site. And I added this testimonial section, which I thought I was recording, but it looks like I wasn't. But I basically created it as a component in here and as a slideshow. And it's really cool because inside of the slideshow, if I click in to layers here, slideshow, you can actually upload your own custom arrows or icons to make it clickable. So it's just another way of how custom Framer really is. It's really cool. So I added that, and I also connected the slideshow to these 2 testimonials. So that's how it's clickable. But I think it's really coming together. I'm just going to play around with it a bit more, add more movement, and just make sure that the other devices are perfectly optimized. But if you want to see how I'm doing all of this, like in a deep dive tutorial, then definitely check out my Patreon. I'm going to be showing you guys how I'm not only like making my own components, but how I'm creating them on Framer and how I'm building out the rest of my website. So don't miss that out. I have it in the link in the description box down below, and I have a special offer for my YouTube subscribers, so check that out. But yeah, I'm so excited with how this is looking. I'll be connecting like my flow desk, so if you want to see all that, I'll be sharing that on Patreon. But I think the photos I got taken are looking so good. So happy with them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Alright, you guys, I hope that was helpful to see a behind the scenes look of my website development on Framer and how I'm taking the Figma design and making it functional. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Let me know down below what you guys think about Framer, if it's a platform you're interested in checking out. I'd love to hear. I know there's lots of choices, so I always like to show you guys all the different options out there and when or why I would use it. And yeah, Framer has been really fun to use for my personal brand. But if you want to see more of me developing the site, I'm going to be sharing all of that on my Patreon. So definitely don't forget to check that out. I have that link down below, 15% off for my YouTube subscribers. And I would love to connect with you guys there. I have a Discord and everything. It's so much fun to chat with you all. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate it so much if you gave it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, and I will see you all in my next video.